is not an issue, so you know it's not like
there is in some ways the what we would have considered to be a challenge.
You've got issues. I mean, the mere fact that you've got bread and circuses
because essentially
classically the problem with living on an island is block. It's like Hawaii is like that.
Everyone, thanks for coming back today. We're gonna start off again. Just a bit more context, just in terms of helping us out to think about where we're going to try and head for the afternoon. If we start to talk a little bit about the timeline of the project, maybe that's useful. The idea of today was really what we're going to try and hope to achieve by the end of the session is some form of briefing document as a kind of deliverable, where this kind of public forum, public think tank, we come together based on some of the provocations or interests that were suggested tonight and that have been going back and forth via email across the last couple of months. We're going to try and distill those down and get to and try and shape that in some form to talk about a kind of a multi-layered brief for the idea about what this future city might be. And then what's going to happen across the next month and a half is that myself and kind of a team of concept artists, designers, and the model making crew from Shepperton Studios in the UK that have worked on such films as Prometheus just recently, the original Alien, what's a Ridley Scott's gig, Moon, Duncan Jones's film. We're going to kind of synthesize and work with the discussions that are going to come out of today's session and develop the future city as a physical construct, a physical model, a movie miniature that's going to be set in the spaces of Moon. A landscape that on August 10th is going to be installed, and then across the course of the exhibition is going to be added to, and this city will grow across time as we start to build more model fragments onto this thing. And we're going to really treat it as kind of a prop for a sci-fi film that's not going to exist. It's going to be a stage set for a series of stories and narratives set in this place. So across the course of the exhibition, we're going to invite obviously Bruce and Warren and Paul, Edouard, we've also got guys at Factory 15, who are some animators from London, Daniel Dossier, a concept artist based in Seattle, to then start to tell a series of stories and imagine the life and culture of this city, using the city as a stage set. So some filmmakers and animators will come in, set up cameras within the context of the city and start to film and develop little animations. So across the course of from now until almost the end of the year, we're going to be evolving, exploring the life of this city, and the briefing document of which we're going to hope to somehow develop this afternoon. So that's kind of the setup. We've got obviously everyone that you met last night is back, and we've got a few people kind of Skyping in. Paul and Edouard are going to be that will show up on the beamer behind. And hopefully we'll start to move from what may begin as a more general kind of discussion of the role of the city and its construct into more specifics and start to integrate some of the ideas that people were putting forward last night together and look for commonalities, look for common ground, look for discrepancies and incongruencies. Some ideas may fall away and some ideas may bubble to the surface as being much more critical than others. So it's really just going to be a jam for the day. There's no real form. At some point we're going to break and have some sandwiches for lunch. But hopefully we can keep the conversation fairly pointed and tight so it doesn't become a metaphysical rant on future cities in whole, but we can actually start to focus a little bit. We're sitting at this table. There's also spare seats if you want to come forward as well. It doesn't say there's any kind of hierarchy in the room, that we might kick off the conversation and start to direct it a bit, but also it is a public event and you guys are all here. Please contribute, shout it out. There's no conch shell, just yell it out whenever you feel the need. Bruce, you thought we might kick us off?
Yeah, let me try to evade the tyranny of structurelessness here with a futurist intervention, which I learned from my futurist guru, Peter Schwartz of Global Business Network. So, yesterday we had this brainstorming, everybody's riffing on cool ideas and sort of things that are on the top of their mind. And I'm going to read those off, because I took a lot of notes. So these are the things that are kind of popping up in the background for me. Just taglines, kind of psychological suggestion. George Bush fell off the Segway. The bath water with the ugly, diseased baby. The land is slipping into the sea. It's too loud. Pink noise as space. Semi-living blobs. Reactive spaces. High surface areas. Non-human players. New relationship to nature. Soil. Dirt. The holy bone market. Happiness freed from consumption of resources. Gorman gas, Durrell's Alexandria, animistic urban intelligence, Pinocchio the wooden boy, obsessions with impending doom and ruin porn, cities like elephants, like coral reefs, like beehives, no more top-down brute force to jam geometry on nature, reaction diffusion, swallowing, algae, snails, drifting toward bestiality, the license for walking, the favela biohazard zone, complex, not complicated. Okay, so that's like a lot of stuff, and it sounds like very disorganized. But you need to pull out the old futurist quadrant here and break them up into groups of related ideas. Now, these groups of related ideas are like connected to the city, and I think they describe parts of the city. They're all of these things are in the city. It's like a big place, but they're associated in certain areas, right? We just draw a quadrant, like low tech toward high tech, low culture toward high culture. Like very advanced technology or no technology, very little human intervention, or like it takes intense political will and kind of a lot of organization. So what belongs in the low tech, low culture area of the city, which would be parks, slums, streets, the parts of town that sort of manage by themselves. Bathwater babies, high surface area, a new relationship to nature in this part of town, soil, dirt, swallowing, algae, snails, and silence. Right? So that just like describes what a park looks like in this town. It's just when we're like drawing it on the table. But when our deliverable is an actual model, right? I want us to like concentrate on how the city looks. Like, okay, well, what is this advocating? It's like, okay, what's the look and feel of an area like that? Okay, now low tech, high culture. This is like the churches, the suburbs, the conservative part of town, the older part of town. What's going on in there? George Bush fell off the Segway. The holy bone market. It's like Durrell's Alexandria. There's ruin, porn, and doom. It's the beehive city. There's the license for walking. Okay, now what about the area that's high tech but low culture? Like a lot going on, but not a lot of, you know, political stuff or kind of, I don't know, cultural or artistic stuff. That's the area. Pink noise, Gorman gas, cities like elephants, brute force construction, reaction, diffusion, complication, the favela biohazard zone. And then we have the area that's both high tech and high culture, which is Broadway, kind of the Golden Boulevard, downtown, the cutting edge district, and what's happening in this liveliest part of the city. Interoperative voxels, reactive spaces, inner spaces, happiness divorced from consumption of resources, Pinocchio the wooden boy, animistic urban intelligence, coral reefs, complexity, semi-living blobs, and dematerialized urbanism. Right? So I think we can actually like build that. You know, just like pull out the old graph paper and just
draw it up.
Yeah, just draw it up, you know, and just let's try and like figure out what it's made of and why it's like that, and what kind of person would find that attractive and why they are there, and you know, it's kind of like what kind of places they want to live. Or just like draw the town. Those are the neighborhoods, right? Instead of like concentrate on our deliverable, and we don't have to like discuss Immanuel Kant here.
Yeah.
It's like, get after the town, right? So that's it.